What is going on, Agent Death here. Today I'm going to be showing you my improved LMG build. Back when we didn't have World Tier 5, I shared with you an infinite ammo LMG build, and even though it's still amazing, this build right here, even though you do lose ammo, you will never have to reload. And on top of that, you'll be able to shred anything that stands in your way. In the first 2 minutes of this video, I'm going to be testing the build out against regular enemies, elite enemies, named enemies, as well as playing some conflict so you can see overall how it works in all types of scenarios. We're also going to be doing Dark Zone and Occupy Dark Zone, so I'll meet you guys in about 2 minutes and let me know what you think of this intro clip. So, I'll meet you guys in a second.
About to expire. Boost has expired. Boost will soon deactivate. Agent down. The boost is now offline.
Outbound in 15 seconds.
Chopper inbound at this time.
Extraction called. Contaminated gear detected. An agent needs assistance. Rogue agent nearby. Contaminated gear detected. Your status is disavowed.
Extraction aborted. Zone is too hot.
Alright, and we're back. So what did you guys think of that intro? I really wanted to show what the LMG build has to offer, especially in PvE. I'm a big PvE player, but nonetheless, I didn't want to leave out PvP, so I try to include everything, showing what it can really do in all sorts of scenarios. Now, there's one thing I do want to point out, and it's the fact that LMG builds are very controversial. Everybody either thinks you copied a Rockdick or Wids, and to be honest with you, it's not that complicated to put together an LMG build. It's just raw damage and a big hitting weapon. With that being said, once again, I don't want to say I started this meta or that they started the meta. There's a lot of YouTubers and streamers covering the LMG, so I just want to share with you my personal take on it. So, without further ado, right off the bat, you can check out the armor pieces and see that the build itself is not very complicated. Every single talent here is rather simple, but what really makes this build special is the weapons and the talents on them. So let's check out my main weapon, the classic M60. And can you peep that damage? 35k base damage, not counting the buffs I can get from my other talents, which is overall incredible. It's the highest damage LMG I've been able to find and I've been able to see anywhere on YouTube. Now let's check out the talents. First off, we have Unhinged. Receive plus 25% weapon damage at the cost of 35% weapon handling. Then we have Stable, plus 15% stability, and then we have Everlasting. While holster and in cover, this weapon regenerates 2 ammo every 5 seconds. There's something I want to point out. Even though this is not the god roll I'd want on my LMG, I really like Stability. This is the god roll everybody's gonna tell you to get. Unhinged, Allegro, and Stop, Drop, and Roll. While equipped, rolling removes burning, bleed, and poison status. This is very important for the synergy of the build, so if I could change anything, I would not change my stability for Allegro. I would make sure I had Stop, Drop, and Roll, and I'll tell you guys exactly why. Now, our second weapon does incredible synergy with this, and it's the Lullaby, which I got from my Sweet Dreams. This is a very subpar weapon, but what I really like about it is the evasive perk. While equipped, dodging reloads 25% of your current weapon's magazine. This is what makes it so you never have to freaking reload. All you gotta do is dodge and you'll be perfectly fine. And even though you might think, well, I don't want to dodge all the time because it might take me out of cover. Yeah, it really won't take you out of cover. You can actually use the cover to permanently dodge in the same location, giving you a whole bunch of utility. So, the lullaby is extremely important. Now, when it comes to your handgun, there's a very specific talent I would advise you to get. If you couldn't get stop, drop, and roll on your main weapon, you can get it here. But if you already have it, you can go for rooted. While equipped and in cover, all skill damage and healing is increased by 25% for 10 seconds. Since we're going to be getting in and out of cover so much because of our rolling mechanic, it's very important to have that increased healing to keep ourselves alive. But that's enough of the weapons. Let's talk about our actual armor build. First off, if you notice anything in the build is the fact that it's not a complicated build as I told you before. There's no weird talents in here. There's only 2 talents that are really going to up our damage more than what we already have. And they're rather simple to get. Now, we're going to talk about the mask. This is a very important piece because it's the main place where we're going to be getting our damage to elite, if not pretty much the only one. What I mean by this is damage to elite is an incredibly important statistic. You want to have your damage to elite as high as possible, but at the same time, especially if you play solo, there's a lot of other enemies that damage to elite does not apply to. So you want to make sure damage to elite is high, but also your weapon damage, thus my 35k LMG. Now, in here I have health on kill, which I would really like to change for either armor or health, but the main fact is damage to elite as I told you guys, and on our talents we have hard hitting, which is also very important to give us damage to elites. I like going with Gilligard because I believe that hazard protection is a very important talent once the raid hits, for the simple fact that it's on so many things that there's no real reason why hazard protection is not going to play a big role. For our chest piece, we also went with Gilligard to get a little more armor, hit that hazard protection, and the fact that we get such incredible attributes when it comes to armor and health. Here we have that weapon damage at 8%, but you can definitely go higher than that. And for our talent, we have Unstoppable Force. Killing an enemy grants 2% weapon damage for every 10,000 max armor. We currently have 218k for a grand total of around 42% boost on our damage once we kill an enemy. Our mod slots are 2 defensive and 1 utility, overall making this piece vital to this build. Now guys, our holster is a very interesting story. You definitely have to go for Petrov to get that LMG damage. When it comes to attributes, I almost always got Petrov with these 3 talents, which is really weird. If you happen to get a Petrov piece that has damage to elite, I highly advise you put it on because we don't need some of these talents like critical hit chance. We're just not using it with this build, but Petrov is the piece you want to go for. The next piece of armor does offer a talent that is vital to this build. Without it, I would say you'd miss at least 30% of your shots at long range. So let's check out our knee pads, and the talent I'm talking about is Braced. While in cover, weapon handling is increased by 25%, pretty much nullifying a giant chunk of unhinged, which makes our gun really smooth when it comes to, well, gunplay. And when it comes to our attributes, I'm going with skill power simply to reach that cap for the skill we're going to be talking about in a minute. Now, you do not have to go with Wyvernware. You can get a different brand set. I really don't like critical chance on this build, so if you get something else, you'll definitely be able to do either more damage or have more survivability. Now, our gloves are going to be a little controversial. Here we have the Mukarami Industries. The reason for this is to get more health and more survivability. In our attributes, we have health once again and LMG damage. And I find this very interesting because when you pair it up with Devastating, you'll be able to get huge damage on a specific weapon. You can roll up to 12% damage for a specific weapon, and with Devastating, you can bring that up to 17%. Pretty much making that other skill that I forget the name of, which pretty much gives you 15% extra damage if your critical chance is very low, but you do have to sacrifice some red points in there so you don't have the opportunity to build the way you're supposed to. And here's the talent we're really talking about, the one that gives us more power when our abilities are on cooldown, giving us an incredible amount of synergy with this build. The one I'm talking about is on the ropes. Weapon damage is increased by 25% while all skills are on cooldown. This is very important when you pair it up with our high, because we'll be able to have a 20 to 25% boost when we have our skills active and when they're on cooldown, pretty much giving us a guaranteed buff all the time. I really like this skill and we don't have to sacrifice too much for it. And when it comes to our mod slots, we have an utility and offensive slot, and if you check out my offensive mod, it is godly. I believe it's probably a god roll mod. It has LMG damage at 4% and 1% weapon damage, giving me an overall 5% boost to my LMG damage. When it comes to my skills, obviously I'm running with the chem launcher. It's very easy to get it on cooldown and to stay alive with it, and our booster hive for that synergy and to always have a boost on my base damage. And that's really all there is to this build. I've showed you how it works in PvP and PvE against named enemies, against regular enemies. I've told you about the synergy. I've showed you the damage. I've showed you the stats you need to get, and that's really all there is to know. At the end of the video, which is right now, I'm going to show you a level 3 control point and how the build performs in actual open world or in mission gameplay. How you're able to get your ammo back by dodging and how you never have to reload, and overall the damage you do to regular enemies, elite enemies, purple bar enemies, and a whole bunch. That's about it for this video. If you've enjoyed it, make sure to smash that like button, subscribe for more builds, for more Division 2 content, and stay tuned for guides and coverage on the Dark Hours raid, which is dropping this Saturday. For now, your boy Death Gun out. But wait, there's more. I'm also going to be showing you the shooting range numbers, because I'm sure a lot of you want to see this, even though I don't agree with this method of testing out your damage because it's so situational, especially if you're the type of player who always goes for headshots. That's just not going to happen in a real case. What I like to do is test it out by going from body to head. So you'll see my numbers vary. As you can see right here, I kind of stray from the body to the head, but overall the regular numbers you're seeing are incredible. 52k with a regular body shot and 100k with a crit or a headshot. Overall, I really like this build. It does a crap ton of damage, and that's all there is to be said. Sorry for the long ass video. I never do these sort of videos, and I'm sure I'm gonna get crap in the comment section, but I don't give a damn. I'm sharing everything and I cover everything. For now, your boy Death Gun out.